Welcome back to Rising Star 2, episode number 40. We are on to our next gig, our final one of the month of March, and a little mix of our big hit anyway, and Her Purpose, and then Tilt to go with it, and then 4 of our newer ones. Still testing the waters a little bit, make sure that they are adequate and worth hanging on to long term. For a small opening roll, 5,000 XP is good. Her Purpose picks up 0.4. Holy cow. Tilt 0.14. Good times, bad times. Let it be a little bit off the pace of the... From that performance, Maggie has picked up her next level. She's now at level 31. And into what is next? She doesn't have perfect stage presence. She's definitely helping us out there a little bit. Writing music, I think, needs to get a couple of points. 1 for playing, maybe 2 for playing. There you go. I think finances are not much of a problem anymore, so we're going to probably start straying away from business. We've got it high enough for now. Mid-episode, I'm going to have to come up with my next concept because I did not come up with it prior to the beginning of this recording. Just realizing, hey, it's episode number 40. It's time for Leadstone Beats to retire and move on to a new name. But in the meantime, our next song, only a 90 overall, as we are struggling to match melody, rhythm, and suitable riff pieces together. I do have a 25 in melody now at least, so we're getting a 90 instead of something lower. But Spotless Hour to the Pigs sounds perfect. And there we go, just a few days in. We're into April, by the way, but just a few days into the episode, it has happened. We now have the entirety of the band on a 100 repair skill, as we've just hit that level up here. So, task complete. Everybody has a 100. Now I'm more inclined to just kind of get on top of everything through everyone. We'll be doing more level ups on a triple XP type of day and not on a regular basis. The reason being, the XP, it's free XP, but so is the busking. And plenty of comments have expressed the let busking go frustration of, by now, when you're getting 5,000 or 13,000 XP for a gig, getting 200 XP is just a tiny percentage. We're not even getting that here. A general day, let's watch Desmond here. Desmond is going to get 100. That's way more than normal. Way more than normal. That's the high end. Most of the time I'm getting 50 or less. So 50 or less times 4 is 200 XP. 100 in one shot, we're still talking maximum of 300 XP. This is the small potatoes that is the same thing. There's 31, there's 36, 23. Enrico is not picking up the XP. 18. That was maybe 100. It's just not enough to justify the repetitive grind that comes from it. Now, taking care of our equipment is obviously important, and we'll continue to do that. But as for the buy and sell of equipment, the finances aren't that important anymore, and especially the XP is minor. I'll hit it up on triple XP days. I'll stay on top of my equipment, and even though, yes, it's free XP, it's small potatoes. Too small compared to where we are now at. So we are retiring this, especially now that we have 5 band members with a 100 skill in something. Repair skill for all of them. I like hitting that milestone. I have noticed it looks like we're going to get a maximum at like level 50. We're only going to get so good. We're not going to be able to maximize things. Now, production's going to do that. We're at a 97. That's 2 points. 2 points more put into it. But beyond that, the other stuff, like we need to round things off. We're not going to get a 100 in everything. So I'm going to have to be careful on how I go about points from here on out. Play skill is obviously important, but we need other stuff. And one thing I've got to keep in mind is these bonuses are not necessarily all the times, because we have different equipment setups. Well, hello, one condition drumheads. That's not going to last long. But the crazy thing is I would delete the whole set, not just the one on top, not just the one with one condition. It kind of ties your hand on that. Not a fan of how that particular thing works out. Anyway, we've got another gig tomorrow. New attitudes for the month of April. Is that unchanged, or is travel a new idea? I know the consumerism and travel technical musicianship. No, you know what? There is a change. The consumerism is new, right? So next up is The Anxious. It's a 95-53 overall song. We're getting there a little bit as I just got 2 more 20s in the melody category, but rhythm is suddenly going to be down to just one piece at 20 above. No 25s right now. We've been holding on to a fair few pieces or fair few songs recently that had some decent quality to them, and I got to figure out something to narrow that down, or we just need to suck it up, get on with it, and get that recording deal. Well, we've got one gig tomorrow, and then we're on to whatever's next, and it's time. Let's go get a record deal and move on. But let's get through that last gig first. So we'll start work here in just a couple of days, but we need to get our concept in order first. I like that this is a local gig for us. We don't have to leave. We don't have to waste that $200. And we get to play 9. 3,000 capacity, so we're not going to get quite as much XP out of this one. Spiteful Mouse is only a 19. But we do slot in as not the headliner, but not the opening act either. And so we get to play 9. That's going to open things up a little bit for us. And we do have 2 new songs. I'd like to get them both in there. So Since I've Been Loving You is out. We're going to bring a Whole Lot of Love and Help both in. I know we can get one of them slotted there. The other one I think we'll be able to slot in just down here, which means we need just a couple others. These are brand new, not ready to play just yet. Beast of Burden. Let's go ahead and get that played for a second time. Even with a small audience, we still got 3,400 XP, and that's kind of the big point there. Her Purpose leads the way with a 0.22. Tilt doesn't even hit a 0.1 today. Whole Lot of Love and Beast of Burden. Neither one did anything and looked like instant tear-ups. They got 0.01. Oh, Help was so bad it didn't even get any love, so I think I need to actually tear up all 3 of those, because Beast of Burden just had a couple bad shows in a row. We could use those pieces back, so we're going to tear up the 2 new ones plus Beast of Burden. Yeah, it's certainly not awful, but a 0.12 on a 14K audience is like the just about acceptable level, but nothing special, nothing great. It's also only a 90 quality. Which brings me down to 20 keepers at the moment, which I think is kind of the perfect setup right now for what we're about to do. Find a recording contract. Alright, Rodney's giving us a call. He's got some recording contract offers that we received. All offers expire soon, so don't delay. We're going to get to a chance to look through them. That's good. The 2 latest written songs are one day away from being ready to perform, to test, but we don't have anything on that yet. I think the 20 that we have, excluding those two, are definitely what we're going to use to write from. So review contract offers. What do we have here? Looks like we have 5 offers to go off of. Okay. Offer expires April. We have 1 week. I would presume the other 4 are going to be the same. Hold that thought. We need to fix these contracts. Let's see if it will fix these contracts. I'll come back and look at these in a moment. Going a totally different direction, and in honor of the attitude consumerism being in, I've gone with what is the thing that I consume the most. Well, the thing I consume the most is not for me personally. It's for my partner, my wife. Sanrio products. Hello Kitty in particular. For me, it's Kuromi. Kuromi's more my style. So we have Sanrio for one part, but to complete it, it's Sanrio Bowerman, as in Nike. Now the story on that one's a little bit longer. We'll go over that in time on what the connection is with one Bill Bowerman. So with this first deal being about money, why not consumerism, right? It's a terrible thing. But let's go ahead and review those contract offers now. Sanrio Bowerman, the band, agrees to provide 1 full-length 10+ songs CD release. The CD must be released no later than June 23rd. So that gives us 2.5 months to make the CD. Release must include at least 2 songs of at least 40 quality. That much is obviously going to be really easy, and I think all of the contracts we're going to look at are going to be quite easy to do, because we are at a later stage to be getting into this. Largely the main reason why I had waited so long was the assumption that there must be a year in between releases. Now, knowing that that's not the case, we're definitely pivoting in this direction long term, and we're going to keep rolling out different ones as we produce new songs and be able to get them on the market and sold, and not just selling CDs at venues when we go to play a gig, but being able to put it on the wider commercial market will definitely help financially and help us grow a little bit faster. Plus the process is going to come with a lot of XP gained, and of course the financial clout to be able to do more. Minimum recording quality 20. Band agrees to perform 10 times live in advance of $8,500. The label will spend $5,700 on marketing. This might be the most important part for me, as that's going to grow our reputation, and I think that might be the most important piece. I'm guessing that we're going to be looking at 10+ songs for each, similar low quality requirements that we will easily be able to handle. I can get us to 100 quality on the recording. We have near 100 quality for each of the songs, so that's all easy. 10 live performances, a dozen live performances, 20 live performances, none of that is going to be an issue. The release is going to be similar length, $8,500 up front, $10K up front. Not going to make a substantial difference for us. I think it's more about the marketing, how much they recover before we then get sales. Also a little less important. I think the exposure piece is going to be the biggest thing I'm looking at when I decide on which one to go for. So our second one, very similar, just little subtle differences. 22% of receipts instead of 21, 13K instead of 14, but less being spent on marketing. This one seems to be rounding up a fair bit more, a little more up front, very similar layout up here, but this is 6K on marketing, with a little more recovery happening before we get paid a little bit less. But again, we do at least get a little bit more up front, and we do get a wider spend, and I think that might be my decisive moment, because where this is ultimately going to mean more money for us, that's less important. I think the exposure piece is the biggest, and so we're going to go ahead and sign this. No, we're not. No, we're not. 2 full-length CD releases. We are not doing 2. 2 is not going to happen. That one's also 2. So our options are 1, 2, or 3. 5,700, 5,300, or 55. So 57, the first deal, is going to be the most beneficial. We've got to stick to a single full-length CD. It's Combative Records. There we go. Not only do I get an achievement for doing that, we picked up a lot of XP. We have until June 23rd. We can get straight to work. We can get well ahead of the schedule on that. There's no reason to wait, to delay this. We now have 100k. Desmond has leveled up. And instead of do nothing, let's switch back to product endorsements. And we're going to get to work on recording our first proper CD. Desmond, what do you got for me, bud? He's our even split guy, though writing lyrics is fairly good. We have not leveled it up in a while. I think stage presence I can hold off on, so let's put 2 into writing music. We'll put at least 1 into playing. Do I want to continue to diversify, or do we want to bring up, this is our one kind of neutral guy who might ever actually get an award, so we'll go triple into writing music, as he's the only one who can do both effectively. We already know which studio to work from. Lenny's studio gets us where we need to be. We need to put 10 songs on the album, and right now our best recording is a 71 for Flaky. Well, we know our first 4 choices are the most, well, first 5 choices are the most obvious, so let's get them all kind of recorded one by one. Getting to 100 is quite possible. 18 hours, 3,600 times 10. We're going to spend 36,000 to get this. However, we do have 1 at 100 already, so I guess we only have to do that 9 times. But as we're capable, I don't understand why we would do any less. That's just the way it is. You put your best foot forward. You don't record crap. XP. I'm getting a pretty healthy bonus on this, but we're getting everybody else recorded. I think we need to, maybe we take Flaky as is. We'll see as time goes on. Let's now do Isolate Me. Love to see a level up for myself here, and we could get this up to a 100. Ooh, songs are going to lose some play skill, I just realized. We are going to have to take a day or 2 to practice here and there. Alright, we know Slap Nobody Later is definitely a better one. Is this a play skill situation? Why is 18 hours not going to get us? We can only get it to a 99. In which case, I think we're going to just take the 90. Save some money. All right, play skills starting to drop off on everything. Let's go home and spend a day practicing. That could have been why our recording situation was what it was. All right, I think in the case of Slap Nobody Later, the thing we were looking at was play skill being lower because the difficulty is higher. Therefore, the recording was more difficult to nail down. As in, it's easier to record 100 if you're playing White Stripes. It's rather difficult to get a top recording if you're playing Tool. We're sitting on 5 recordings so far. Flaky may or may not get re-recorded, but we definitely need to pick out 5 more. And Her Side, I think, would be the next one. And With the Company. Grumble Grumble has a decent little. Yeah, her side, Omit the Company, and Grumble Grumble are going to be the next ones, as that's got good buzz. We've only just played it, but yeah, it's doing well. There is the level up that I've been waiting for with all that bonus XP that I was picking up. Now level 33, and let's finish it off. Not 99, let's make it a 100. Production is done. And then play and write music. And so Grumble Grumble will be our first test case of what a 100 skill looks like. Can we cut down on the hours to get this up? We can do it in 17 now instead of 18, so save a little bit of money. So that gives me 6 recordings of a 100 plus now, and then R2 in between, so 8 in all. And now I just need to decide on what my last 2 are going to be. It's definitely not our 2 new ones. In terms of buzz, Spin Another has a 3. What's Spin Another doing? Definitely better than the 1/10 of a point to every 1,000 ratio, where Detect and Beat Us is not better than that ratio. It's the most popular we have, but that's because it's been around a while. Since I've Been Loving You is the next one, and it's not better than that ratio either. Read the Wall is right at that ratio, so I do think let's go off that buzz and we will get, Spin Another. And now Enrico levels up. Good week here in the studio. Alright, let's get the balanced treatment here. Play skill. A little bit for writing music. That writing lyrics. Yes, he's good at it, but it gets even better. And we get that 2 for 1. It's more bang for your buck. I don't mind having a bunch of 35s in lyrics. It's a good thing to have a bunch of 35s in lyrics. I don't know if having a popular idea is going to help us, but we do have a few. Ramble On is getting a 1 for 1 and a popular idea now. Step on Devon is just ahead of that 1-to-1 ratio. It's a new one. It is consumerism, which fits the mold of kind of what we're going for this little stretch. So let's take it. We're gonna do Step on Devon for our 10th song. I have no idea if a CD has any correlation with how your gigs work and whether they get viewed in that same sort of manner, and whether, going through the right order is Omit the Company as the only low energy going to burn the energy of those who listen to the CD. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you know that. I will look at that more closely by the time we have our next CD, if that's the case. For now, a lot of high energy, only a couple non-high energy in there. Clearly would burn a bit too much on your audience, but we'll see. Maybe that's what they're into. These are definitely the songs that we're into, and the title track for this one, Hello Nike. And now that's where we can get into our Bill Bowerman connection. Bill Bowerman is the multi-Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer in a half a dozen different respects, different areas. He is often recognized as the greatest coach in the history of track and field, the most Olympian medalists, the most NCAA records, some of the biggest names in the history of track and field have come through Bill Bowerman. The World War II vet was the Head coach at my alma mater, the University of Oregon, aka Tracktown, USA, the most championships in the history of track and field collegiately. And Bill Bowerman coached Phil Knight. And Bill Bowerman came up with the concept of a better track shoe and used his wife's Belgian waffle iron to use rubber to lighten the load and still provide grip and make a better track shoe. That concept, those personally made track shoes for his athletes, led U of O track star, former graduated track star Phil Knight, to go into business with Bowerman, at first 50-50 and then 51-49 as Knight took the business side. Bowerman took the concepts and the development, and between them made the company Blue Ribbon Sports, Blue Ribbon, whatever it was. And they eventually renamed as Nike. So Nike as we know it, and Phil Knight, now the greatest donor at the university. It's Nike U. I went to Nike U, so I have a lot of brand loyalty with that one. Well, let's go ahead and release. This certainly meets all of the requirements. We got a 100 on 8 of the 10. A 71 is the minimum. We have our minimum of 10 songs. So the recording quality, 2 songs definitely have quality of 40 or higher. They all do. Flaky's the only one that doesn't even have a 95 plus. Delivered more than 2 months ahead of time. Let's release and let's get out there on tour. Got a few hundred copies of Hello Nike ready to sell. We can make money off of that one ourselves. Gig sell price $10, and we have I should check actually, hold on. So it cost me $2 for each of these, whether it's a single or a full-on album. And while we have our 4 independents, we have our new one with Combative Records. I'm not worried about sticking with Combative Records down the line. I'll release through whoever. That's our first release of 2007. But we have the original single Tight, now lowered to $5 from $6. Screw the Man, lowered from $6 down to $4. The album 10 has gone from $10 down to $8. Her Purpose has gone from $10 down to $6. And that's our big single. So that hopefully we'll sell more of that now as we go further out there, play more gigs. And we are going to do $10 for Hello Nike. Yeah, I think we're going to make plenty of money from all of that. But again, this is not necessarily about the money, though we do have about $30,000 in expenses to now recoup. So look it over at our contract. Royalties will be 21%. We've got the recording quality and the contents of the album, and now that it's released, we've got to get out there and push that deal, cover the 10 gigs that we need to do, and recoup our money. So let's go ahead and have our manager go ahead and book a tour. We'll see if it goes in the manner that I want it to. However, we've been stuck, localized for a while. The last little tour we went on, I tried to include California. We never even got there. I have too many local options for the number of dates we go out there. So even though I am selected to start in Vancouver, I've restricted Washington this time. We're going to go through Oregon on our, well, I don't know what direction it's going to go, but if I were mapping this out, I would go through Oregon down to California, back up through Nevada, Utah, and Idaho on the way back home. So we'll see how our manager manages to put this one together, but that's the idea anyway. Well, it looks like timing-wise, Excited Island is probably going to help us the most with what we're doing. Their home city is in California, and that's definitely a direction we're headed. They've got a popularity of 17, not quite the highest on the list of possibility, but they also have something releasing just before we begin the tour. They would serve as headliner. We're going to go with Excited Island. And our tour is Hello Nike, Consumerism is Evil. And our first album hits the market at 218th for its debut, with just shy of 8,000 units sold. We earned $3,700 in royalties and gig profits. Of course, we haven't even hit a gig yet, as it just debuted a few days ago. That feels like a pretty decent number, and it's only been on the market a couple of days. So, what's it going to be like in a week? Well, we'll find out. And of course, we have a show coming up. I can already see our calendar has been populated. Tour scheduled 17 gigs, beginning in Vancouver, ending in Vegas. So I exclude Washington, but because we are starting in Vancouver, they forced Washington into the list. So we go Vancouver, take 2 days off before we then go to Tacoma. So really, we still have a full week before we're going to hit the road. We go Portland, back up to Everett, Astoria, Salem, the usual suspects, Hillsborough into the second week, Eugene. Finally, we get a little bit somewhere with Ben, but then we're right back to Olympia and Aberdeen and Bellevue. I left Washington off the list. We're going to spend almost this whole tour at home as we have before. Seattle, Spokane. Finally, we get somewhere right at the end. We get 3 dates in new cities. We get Boise, Salt Lake, and Vegas to wrap it up. That is so disappointing at a whole different level. It's okay though. 17 dates, that's the main thing, and 9 songs. We're going to get to play a fair bit. We're going to get to try some new things. We don't have to stick to the 10 on the album, though I have a feeling that I would stick to probably 5 from the album on a daily basis. Yeah, just rotate out maybe a few of those. Keeping a couple core ones in there throughout the tour, but otherwise, yeah, rotate the other 8 across every 3 gigs or so, and then introduce some new stuff and the things that didn't make the cut for the album. But still a handful of days to go. We've got enough time to write 2 more songs and have 3 days to practice. So actually we do have enough opportunity. We've got 2 new songs ready for the tour now. Looks like we've got enough time to get 2 more ready for the tour, to have 4 new ones ready to take on the road with us. It's not bad. We'll have time to write, of course, as we are on the road as well, and as we'll be home, and we still have over a full week. We might be able to squeeze in 3. I think we might be able to make it 3. We might be able to make it 4 even. I think we can just about make that work. Get them close enough to play. We'll see. We'll see if I can pull that one off. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Debuting just inside the top 250 is, well, I don't know. I think that could have gone a little bit better. I wasn't hoping for a high chart position, but I was definitely thinking, what if we could crack the top 150? But A, we haven't even performed it yet, and B, it's just been a couple of days, so maybe with a full week it'll be better. But usually they drop off pretty quickly after introducing themselves to the chart, so I don't know. We'll see how things pan out with that one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.